So they both came to this place, both Peter and Paul, because of their jacked up expectations of who God should be in their life. And see, what God told both of them was the same thing. Listen, it's not about you, Paul. It's not about you, Peter. It's about me. And it's about others. We get so caught up in our own selfishness and our own wants and our own needs that we forget what's most important. It's all about our relationship with Him and others. And you know, so if we're there, if we're there and we didn't realize it, but now we realize it, and then maybe we're going to be there in the future, how in the world do we deal with it once we get there? Well, I'm not sure. See, we're not baking a cake, and I can't give you a recipe for how God's going to work in your life, because He says to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. But what I do know is that He don't want you to stay there. And what I do want you to see is how He interacted with both Paul and Peter after they had done some pretty crazy things for their own selfish gain. In John chapter 21, I'm going to give you a little background before I start reading. So at this point, Jesus had been crucified, and He came back to walk around and let some people see Him for a little bit, so they would understand that, hey, I really am risen. This is who I am, and I am living again. And at this point, Peter had said, you know what? Jesus is dead. Can't find His body. Don't know what's going on. I think I'll go fishing. You guys want to go?
What?
Some of the disciples said, yeah, let's go fishing. Sounds like a good idea. Peter's a leader, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's just go fishing, right? See, whenever we can't figure out what in the world God's doing because He's late and He's not on time and He hasn't shown up when He was supposed to show up, so often we go back to what we know. We go back to our old friends. We go back to our old habits. God, I know that I stopped having sex, but then He broke up with me. So, you know, I really loved Him, and what good did that do? God, I know that I had really started reading and praying and studying and just being faithful, and the relationship with You was great and everything, but You didn't heal my granny. It sounds a little crazy when you say it that way, right? But you know, if we're honest, it's so easy to get there. It's so easy to get there. None of us are immune to it. And Peter wasn't. And so, not only him, but the disciples, these are people who walked with Jesus. Just so you feel a little bit better, they walked with Him. They touched Him. They saw Him. They heard the Sermon on the Mount. They were there when He healed people. They were present for all of it. And here they are. And Jesus didn't meet their expectations. They went back to what they knew. And it had nothing to do with Jesus. So Jesus sees them out there and He says, hey guys, how you doing? Don't have any fish again, do you? We've been here before. It's all right. It's okay. Now come on up here. Let's have some breakfast. And so Peter, being Peter, jumps out of the boat. And the other side was like, Peter, he's taking the boat. And well, Peter jumps out of the boat and gets to shore, and he's the first one there to meet Jesus. And disciples are there shortly after. And they start having breakfast, and it's a real quiet meal. Not a whole lot of talking going on. A little bit awkward. Eating with someone who was dead and is now alive and is back, and kind of caught us embarrassed because we went back to doing the things that we were doing when we first met Him, that He took us out of, and told us He was going to change us and revolutionize our lives by teaching us to fish for men. And here we are fishing for fish again. This is a little embarrassing. So it's kind of a quiet meal they were having. And Jesus being Jesus, decides to break the silence with, of all people, Peter. In verse 15 of John chapter 21, it says, when they had eaten breakfast, Jesus asked Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? These guys that you ran back to whenever I wasn't around anymore, your support system, your comfort zone. Do you love me more than them? Yes, Lord, he said to him. You know that I love you. Then feed my lambs, he told him. A second time he asked, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Yes, Lord, he said. You know that I love you. Shepherd my sheep. He asked the third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was grieved that he asked him the third time, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know everything. God, you know I denied you. You know exactly what I did. I didn't have to tell you. You know. You know that I love you. And Jesus said one more time, feed my sheep. What in the world was going on in that conversation? I mean, did Jesus not hear him the first time? Or the second time? I mean, why did he ask him 3 times? It makes no sense, right? Well, how many times did Peter deny Jesus? You know what Jesus was telling Peter? Peter, there's nothing you did, nothing you can ever do to outrun my love for you. I forgive you once. I forgive you twice. I forgive you 3 times, and I will forgive you as long as you need to be forgiven. Here's all that I ask. Love me. And love my people. See, that's what it all boils down to. We make it so complicated. We really do. We make it so complicated. But when Jesus was asked in several of the Gospels, you'll find a story where the Pharisees thought they'd be really smart. They try and trap Jesus. And they said, so what's the most important commandment of all? And, they figured they'd trick Jesus by having him pick one of the commandments when they knew that all the commandments were equally important and everything else. So Jesus being Jesus again, answers and says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Do you know what he just said? Love me, love others. See, here's the thing. We get so consumed with our own agenda and our own hurt and our own needs, our own desires, that we forget this is not about us. It's about him. And it's about others. All of the law was summed up in those 2 commandments. Just love me and just love them. But we complicate it because we have a set of expectations that we need God to meet. And we need to meet them, we get hurt, and we get mad, and we let him know. We let him know by the fact that we withdraw, we go back into the old things that we used to know. And we quit loving him, and we quit loving others. Like we can just put him on hold. But he's so patient. And he's so kind. It doesn't matter if you were Paul and you knew everything about God, but you didn't really know him. And you were so just ugly about your relationship with him that you turned others away. You scared. Doesn't matter if you're Peter. You didn't quite understand everything. You weren't as smart as Paul. You didn't have the same schooling as Paul. But you just couldn't seem to get it right over and over and over. God said, it doesn't matter how many times you go the wrong path, I forgive you. See, God wants more than to give us a list. He wants more than our open hands. He wants a relationship. A relationship like you wish you had with that guy, or like you wish you had with that girl, or some cases like you wish you just had with your parents. That's the relationship that He wants with us. Intimate, genuine. See, for a long time, I was like Paul. I knew so much about God. There wasn't much about the Bible I couldn't tell you. I was raised in different churches, and I had my checklist. And on October 25th, 1998, I said a prayer. And shortly after that, I got baptized. And I carried my checklist with me everywhere I went. Went to church Monday for visitation, went Wednesday for Wednesday night worship, went Sunday morning and Sunday night. I read my Bible, I prayed, all right, check my list off. Hey guys, look at me. How awesome I am. And I lived like that for years. And then in November of 2010, I was going over the Fullerworm Bridge. And because God hadn't met my expectations, I had a point in my life that I walked away from Him. I went back to what I knew before I met Him. Because He let me down. I checked off my list. I did everything He asked me to do, but He didn't meet my expectations. And when I was crossing that bridge that day, I was overcome. God said, it's not about you, Brian. It's about me. And I'm not even sure how I got to the other side, but at that point,